Hello. Today we're going to be talking about my Lego village, primarily the expansion that I just did to the village. We've initially got the camera set up to do a wide angle here. Many of you will remember the original village, which is over here, and for the most part that has remained unchanged. What we've needed to account for is all the additional buildings that were going to be coming out, and in particular the new Assembly Square, which being a little bit larger than some of the other buildings, I hadn't accounted for in the original village. So what I did was went ahead with an expansion over here to a separate island that was bridged across. The expansion is its own separate island right here. And as you can see, right now it's not real full because I wanted to have plenty of room for additional buildings as they came out. But in order to connect this new island to the original island village, I had to do a couple of interesting things. Of course, one of the first things you'll notice is the tower bridge, and that is a Lego set, and I had actually bought that a while ago and had been trying to find a way to incorporate it, but it was not anywhere near tall enough, so I ended up having to put a new base on it. And that base is down below here, and we'll get a better picture of it in a little bit. But what that allowed us to do is to add a lower bridge level for the train level. And as you may remember, the train is a subway train on the front side of the village here, and it comes out through the lower bit of the tower bridge and then back behind the new island village and out to the side here, which will currently is just basically train yards for maintenance and so forth of the trains, but it will eventually be an industrial section of the city. Now, you'll notice that the tower bridge drops off here to a street, which then goes down to another level and winds down the hill to, well, first of all, to a street level where the Assembly Square facility is, and I think it looks pretty good there. And then drops down again to a level which will be, of course, the train yards, and then also over to what I have currently is just a beach area. And that was primarily because there will eventually be some additional buildings there, but until the new buildings come out by Lego, I wanted to make sure that it was filled with something, so I just went ahead and did a big beach, and there's room for at least 2 more buildings there, and then we'll still have the beach out in front of that. So, as you come along here, you'll notice that we've got a little cave that goes underneath the Assembly Square level, and there's a kayaker there exploring the cave, and this was an interesting recent addition. I needed something to fill that other half of the square left over by the odd size of the Assembly Square. So I went ahead and built a little slide that would take you down to the water, and I have a stairway up to it, and figured it would just kind of be an attraction at the beach. So that's what we've got right there. And as you come along this side, the back side, again right there, a place for another building when it does come out. When you go back to the back side, It's nowhere near as finished as normally would like to be for the island. A part of that too is just anticipation of new buildings and how the streets will work with the new buildings. But what you will see is the train tracks that come over from across the bridge on the lower level of the tower and go over to the subway. Now, many of you will remember that I had an amusement park, a street fair, right over here, and I had to do a little bit of rebuilding of that street fair in order to fit the bridge in. And so now it's kind of a fair underneath the bridge. And we've got some of the same things, and you see the carousel is still there, and the Ferris wheel is still here, although it admittedly was moved down just a little bit. Now, if we go underneath here to the subway level, you'll see coming from the bridge, it'll go through the tower, and it does link up, and there's the train, and comes over to what was the city park and waterfall. Now, in order to make this happen and to keep the loop in the subway, I had to split the train tracks, which is what's done here, which also means I had to enlarge the tunnel that goes underneath the waterfall. And so that's one of those pieces that splits, and then we've got a train track side that goes and completes the loop around the original island like it always did, and then we've got the other one that goes over to the new island. Now, one of the things you'll notice too is I've had to link the upper level of the bridge up to the upper street, and I had debated on exactly how to do this. And so what we've got at the moment are a couple of very tall pylons that support the street level as it goes over from the bridge to the upper street level. I debated for a long time just keeping the bridge low and connecting it at the lower street level. In fact, that was the plan for quite some time. The issue I had is that this is indeed a drawbridge. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the Tower Bridge by Lego, it does open up like this to allow the ships to go through. And then likewise the lower level opens up to allow a ship to go through. And you may recall, and we'll get over there in just a second here, I need to close everything up. You may recall that I have got a very tall ship. And so I kind of wanted to make sure that the bridge was tall enough to allow the tall ship to pass through, although admittedly it would still be a very tight fit. Well, there's the tall ship docked in the Castle City Wall harbor right next to the lighthouse, and then the train becomes a subway at that point, and there you see it there, and it comes out around and then turns back to that tunnel and to that split. So there's the bridge as it comes over to the new island.